National recognition happened in 1994 for Australian South Sea Islanders. I think was a stepping stone to community being recognised as a distinct cultural group.
As far as recognition goes, the point of the action was, yes, we're in the community, but yes, we were aliens in the community. Aliens by law, which had to change. I come into the fight for recognition at probably the later stage. That motivation come from family, really. Once I seen what they were fighting for and I knew I had to be a part of it, something that had to be solved in Queensland. Queensland is the epicentre of Australian South Sea Islanders. And I was just one of those workers in the background, helping with that, working with the likes of Joe Leo and these people who really worked hard to get that recognition process following on from the works of Robert Corowa and Auntie Faith Bandler. There was a survey done in the community by the Human Rights Commission that documented who we were and how many we were. And I think they were a bit surprised. And that really started the ball rolling, that these families, they're here, they're live. As Uncle Robert used to say to me when he wanted me to get involved, he said, Al, he said, it's not about us, it's about our kids. We were part of the meld of organisations around the state who started the fight, or kept the fight going really. But to get there involved a lot of talking, a lot of arguing. You were taking one step forward and 3 steps back at times, but eventually it broke through. I think it was out of mid-air that the recognition came from Paul Keating. It was nothing more than a statement on Hansard. After Paul Keating made that statement in '94, at that stage Queensland was dragging the chain. Keating sort of put a spanner in the works, I think, and started things moving in Queensland where it should have been moved in the first place.
I never shy away from being a South Sea Islander. That's something that I just wear on my sleeve. I also think recognition is also needing to be educated within our families, our younger generations, educating them what recognition is about, where they come from, who they come from, what happened, and why recognition was fought for from those elders. But who were those elders? We can't forget their names.
I remember everybody was coming to Brisbane, and I remember an announcement being made by the then Premier, the Honourable Peter Beattie. It was an interesting feeling for me. I felt very proud. I just remember thinking it was so wonderful to see so many people, so many families all gathered in the one spot for a happy occasion. And the pride on some of our elders' faces. People who I knew who had been at the forefront of fighting for that. But not only for themselves, but for their parents and their grandparents before them. They were also honouring their ancestors that had come before them and their journeys and their lived experiences and those hardships. Everything they'd been through up until that point had been worth it to be more visible for future generations, for their children and their children's children. I was listening to something the other day about someone saying, no one else is going to write it for you, so you might as well write yourself into history. And I think today, on this 30th anniversary, one thing we should do is write our names down into history in some way so that in 50 years' time, the next generation have something to look back on and they know exactly how to find us. Museums, libraries and art galleries are places for storytelling.
Being able to view the artefacts at the museum, the importance of preserving art and culture and artefacts is so important for generations to come. I think it's a huge responsibility for myself to play my part in ensuring that my kids have a solid foundation of understanding, but also the connectedness of belonging to place.
as a curator, I'm really passionate about voices that have been marginalised, that have not been visible to mainstream public, and educating people about the collections and how they are connected to communities.
Recognition just doesn't stop just because we've been recognised. We've still got a long way to go because we're here in Queensland. There's many of us. We're here to stay, we're not moving anywhere. But for our place in society, there's still a lot of work around recognition and acceptance. A lot of people still don't know about our history here in Queensland. They don't hear about it when they're in school, so there's still areas of improvement where South Sea Islanders plays a part in Queensland and our history.
The future, I think, in the terms of where we live today, in a very multicultural Australia, is that we fit into that realm of diversity where we didn't fit before. The Australian South Sea Islander identity to me is you are an islander, but you're not a Pacific Islander. The differentiation is that we were here as a result of the sugar trade. So we had a different mindset of who we were. We're Australian, and I go strongly on that word, we're Australian South Sea Islanders. I see a growing trend in the interconnectedness with our islands of origin. That's trending since recognition. People want to know where they come from, and a lot of people didn't know. I hope a lot of the young people go to the islands of origin, as we did. Once you've done it, it settles you down into say, yes, we know where we come from. And I hope the kids carry that on.
I've heard it described as a fight, to be recognised. I think, looking back on that, recognition was about being seen and being visible and your contributions being acknowledged. And I think everybody in society would like to be recognised. And so if this case for Australian South Sea Islanders in 1994, I think for the first time they felt visible. I think they felt that they had made a contribution to this country, yeah.